Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Whiskey Dictionary. It is Irish Whiskey Month 2023, which is awesome because I'm going to drink Irish whiskey all March, but it's not so awesome because I tend not to drink any Irish whiskey for the rest of the year, trying to hold on to the good bottles to review here, which leads me to this. I've had this since like October, September, something like that. This is the Gold Spot, and it came out in June or August, something like that, in the United States last year. And I ended up buying it online thinking, oh man, this will be great. I'll have it right away. And I got it, and then I got busy doing other stuff, and then I didn't review it, and now it's March, and it's super hard to get. But we're going to review it anyway, because some of you guys that have it out there, and actually some of you have even told me that you were waiting to open the bottle until this review. So here we are. Now, let's talk about the Gold Spot. This is the 135th anniversary of Mitchell & Son going into the whiskey business, and they decided to celebrate with a pretty unique bottling. Sort of unique. Unique right now in that none of the other Spot whiskeys are port finished, but back in like the 1960s they tried it back then too, so I mean we're talking 80 years ago at this point. This is pretty unique. All right, let's go ahead and talk about this bottle. This was introduced in June of 2022, but yeah, it's super hard to find. It's 51.4% ABV, triple distilled, of course, 9 years in bourbon barrels, sherry butts, and Bordeaux wine casks, as well as port pipes. Of course, it's non-chill filtered, and it is limited edition, so I paid about $156, I think is what it was, when all said and done with shipping and everything. But it's looking like it's going north of $200 nowadays, because you really can't find it. Your best bet is to look around inside of a store and hope that they might have it on the shelf. So let's just kind of get right into this, and we'll go into the nosing and the tasting. Now, there are some interesting things about the port and the way that it acts itself on this whiskey that is going to be interesting, and just wait until you listen to some of the notes. In fact, I'm going to challenge you, anybody who watches this channel a lot, some of these notes are going to be reminiscent of something that you wouldn't expect. And I want to see, just, either comment, I'm not going to do the whole, yes, comment, it helps the video, but, just think in your head, is this something that sounds similar to you? Pineapple. Mango, maybe? A lot of vanilla. It's very, very sweet. It's almost like, it's sweet like I want to say, you know what? Actually, it's sweet like this. It's sweet like the icing that you put on top of cinnamon rolls, like where it's literally just water and confectioner's sugar mixed together. It's sweet like that. A little hint of banana, maybe attributing that to how much time it spends in the bourbon barrels. Some apple, for sure. And then just general kind of like oaky toast, but it's not like a deep oak. It's more like kind of like a toasted oak. Again, kind of like a caramelized tannins, something like that. All right. Does that sound anything similar to things that I've talked about before? Well, we'll go over that in the overview. Let's go ahead and have another taste. Maybe some more hints will come your way. Oh, cheers. That was close. I don't think I've ever drank on this channel without saying cheers. All right. So, here's the thing. 51%. First drink of the day from me. Sometimes I have one right before I start filming. In this case, I did not. I sat right down. I started filming. First sip of the day. Even at 51%, it is not harsh. It is pretty smooth. It's not exquisitely smooth. Is that the right? That sounds like the right phrase. It's not extremely smooth. It is kind of smooth. So you definitely taste a little bit of the alcohol, but let's see if we can pick out some flavors. Black pepper. What? That was a surprise. I didn't get that previously when I've drank some of this before. What I usually get on here, and it's starting to come out a little bit more in the finish, is some of the fruits that the port kind of imparts here. So you're getting a little bit more like a tropical fruit flavor. I need another sip. Give me just a sec. It's all meshing together. Having trouble kind of picking stuff out, right? So, okay, I'm going to get back to the fruit in a sec, because there's a couple of things that just stick out real easy, right? So that black pepper, it's fading a bit. But it was definitely there. There's cinnamon. There is kind of like that toasted oak flavor, but it's leaning a little bit more like a hazelnut. Just some form of nuttiness. What is going on with this? It smells like so many fruits and everything, which you're getting, of course, from the sherry and from the port. The taste here is much more reminiscent of the bourbon, though. As it's sitting on my palate here, and I'm just kind of chilling out a little bit, breathing over the tongue, that does tend to bring out more subtle flavors, which is something I love to bring up because for some reason that just never gets brought up on these whiskey channels. Like, after you take a sip, let it dry on your tongue, breathe in over your tongue, and you're going to be tasting different things. It's really interesting. Like, really try to move air over your tongue. I love the idea that there's a bunch of you right now just doing that. It's funny to me. So the fruits that I'm picking up here, they're, I would say on the nose, when I said apple, I was leaning more like a green apple. Tasting is more like a deep red, delicious apple. It's just kind of, it's more subtle, but it's definitely like an appley flavor. But then you're also, it's really not doing a whole lot of these fruits here. And this is something that I often feel when I try port finished whiskeys. I never feel like the port comes across in the taste. It's usually just in the nose. I'm going to just keep sipping this till I get some of those fruits, though. Okay, something's there. Sorry, I know this is taking a little bit longer than it normally does. This one is, I'm having a heck of a time picking out. You know what? Sorry, I'm gonna cut here. I'll be right back after I've poured and sipped a few more. All right, so I'm still not really able to pick out a ton of stuff, but the best I could land on was chocolate-covered cherries, or something to that effect. But more so, like, you ever get those, like, in my opinion, awful chocolate-covered cherries, where it's not actually a cherry inside, it's like a cherry goo, and it's like tastes almost alcoholic. It's like meh. That's kind of what you're getting here, which doesn't sound very good, and honestly it's not a great flavor in here for me. The flavor is actually not really where this one stands out, and I guess we'll just use this opportunity to go into the overall here. The flavor for me is not where this one makes its mark. It's on the nose. You heard how many different random things I threw out there just easily picked up on the nose. But when you get to the flavor, it's kind of like, oh, hey, I've been in like a bourbon barrel and then maybe like some indication of like a sherry barrel and then maybe some port. It feels like the sherry and the port, I have no evidence of this, but it feels like to me that they were certainly not first fill. And that's not a huge surprise if you think about it, especially thinking about something like a triple distilled Irish, I feel like would get overpowered if it was a first fill barrel. So maybe that was done on purpose. But what you end up getting here is a flavor that just tastes like bourbon, weakened with Irish whiskey. It's a little harder to describe, but it's not as good as what I was hoping to get for $150, $160, and for something that's a celebration. It smells fantastic. It tastes okay. And that's kind of where I'm landing on this one. I'm super happy. Well, let's kind of do this. So, like, should you buy this bottle? Not for the flavor. Buy it for the collection, if you want to. It's only going to ever go up in price. So if you really want to have all of the different colors like I do, then it's worth getting, you know, but it's also not going to be anything spectacular. And just going back to what I was talking about at the earlier start of the video where I was like the nosing and tasting, the way it smells like a lot of Indian whiskeys to me, where you're getting tropical fruit notes with an underpinning of kind of this toasted barrel spice kind of thing. And I think that's great on the nose. And immediately I liked it because I really like Indian whiskeys. But the flavor does not match up. So in my mind, this one is a buy it with an asterisk. If you don't want it for your collection, honestly, just skip it. But that's just my opinion, and I'm sad about that because I frequently will retry all of my different spot whiskeys just to see what I'm thinking about them. And I gotta tell you, the Green Spot, just the regular old Green Spot, by far the best in the lineup. to me. I know a lot of people go crazy about the 2 wine finished ones, but to me, just the regular green spot, the 10-year-old, that is worth the $60, $70 that it is now, anytime that you see it. So, anyway, thank you guys for joining me here on the Whiskey Dictionary. I look forward to the rest of March where we're talking all about Irish whiskey, and we have a really I hopefully will finish the video this time. I was going to do it for tonight, but instead I'm doing it next week. I have a really fun one for next week. I think you're really going to enjoy it. I'll just leave it at that. I think you're going to love it. All right, check out the description below. There's a Discord, there's a Patreon, there's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, blah, blah, blah. Mostly the Patreon. All right, I'll talk to you all later, and have a great rest of your night. Cheers.